In Italiano, the infinitive. What is the infinitive? The best way to introduce it is with an example in English. The most famous infinitive in the English language is to be or not to be. To be is infinitive. It's a form of the verb. Essere o non essere. In Italiano, we're looking at verbs, verbi. We're looking at the infinitive form. So what is the infinitive form? Let's take the verb parlare, which means to talk, to speak. The word parlare only gives us the meaning. It doesn't tell us who is doing the talking, when this is happening, and under what conditions, what I call the mode. The same thing when you hear to talk. Now, if I say I talk, we know who. We also know when, which is in the present. And we also know it is a statement. I talk. We know who, when, and under what conditions. Let's go back to parlare again, which we know now simply means to talk. No information other than the concept. Let's take you as a subject, and we say you talked. Now we know who did it, when it is in the past, and we know that the mode is the same. It is simply a statement. Parlare again, to talk, and let's look at a different form. Talk. That word does convey other meaning. It says who, which is you, when, it is now, and what is the mode? It is a command, it's an order. Talk is different than you talk. You talk is a statement, talk is a command. The infinitive describes the action, and the conjugated verb instead gives us more information about who is performing the action, the time, and the mode. In Italiano, the infinitive form is composed of two parts. The first part is called the stem and never changes. And then the second part is the ending of the infinitive. There are three possible endings for the infinitive, and they are are, ere, and ire. When you look up the word for talk, to talk, on the dictionary, you will find that it says parlare and then vi, which means verb. Now, you know that this parlare is made of two parts, the stem and the suffix or ending, the ending of the infinitive. I'm going to repeat again that this form doesn't tell us who is doing the action, when this is happening, the mode. All we know is the meaning. This form describes the activity and no other information. And now let's conjugate. We start with our infinitive, split it in stem and ending, and now we write the form of the present tense with the subjects, the people who are doing the action, and the information about when this is happening. We see that the stem is identical, doesn't change from infinitive all the way to the loro form, remains the same. What changes are the endings. Io parlo, tu parli, lui or lei parla, noi parliamo, voi parlate, loro parlano. In parlano, the stress is moved back by one syllable. Quickly, here are the endings: o, I, a, iamo, ate, ano. Very often, Italian omits the subject, omits the io, because whenever you hear parlo, you automatically know that it can only be io, since all the endings are different. Parla, clearly the subject must be lui or lei. There is no other possibility. Let's look now at other verbs like parlare. Amare, which means to love. Usare, which means to use. And then parlare as a term of reference to compare the other two. Parlare, to talk. The first thing we notice is that they all end with the same ending, are. Therefore, the part before the ending is the stem that never changes through the conjugation. And now we are going to add the ending, as we saw with parlare. The ending for io is o, and then we are continuing at a slow pace to give everybody time to look and reflect and even guess what's coming next. Tu ami, because the ending for tu is always the letter I. Lui, lei, ama, usa, parla. Noi, the ending is iamo. Voi, the ending is always ate. And we come to loro, and we are going to write the whole thing. Loro amano, loro usano, loro parlano. Pay attention to the position of the stress with loro. Noi amiamo, voi amate, and then loro amano. So we move the stress to the left by one syllable. Loro, loro amano, loro usano, loro parlano. So verbs that have the infinitive ending in are called are verbs. There are other categories. There are three categories, three conjugations. We saw are, the second is ere, the third ire. With lack of imagination, they're called first, second, third conjugation. I want to show now the difference between verbs of the first and verbs of the second conjugation. Amare vuol dire to love, vedere, to see. Here we have our subjects, and let's look at the difference. The stem, same operation, you separate stem and ending, and then with amare you add the endings that you're familiar with. And with vedere, let's see what happens. Io vedo, tu vedi, lui vede. There is a difference. Noi vediamo, identical ending. Voi vedete, here's a change. And loro vedono. Remember to retract the stress. So we have three endings that are identical and three that are different in the first and the second conjugation. So pay attention. And that's all for today.